Welcome to the Black Psychologist Podcast, presented by the Black Psychologist Network. And welcome to the Let's Get Some Perspective edition, where we react and analyze viral videos making their way all across the news cycle. I am one half of your humble and gracious host, Dr. Kyle Osborne. He is I, and I am him. And of course, you all know I'm never here by myself flying this aircraft. I am joined by New Jersey's finest, the best there is, the best there was, best there ever will be. My brother, Dr. Jason Coleman. What's going on, good brother?
What's going on, bro? It's been a while, man. It's been a minute, but I'm good, Good day at work, good workout, Like I was telling you before, I'm recovering right now. I'm a little tired from being out in that sun, but I'm here for you, here for them. Just ready to do the show and get back at it, man. What's up with you?
Listen. Dr. J still thinks he's that young teenage kid that can be out there in the sun all day, y'all. Listen, I'm telling you, that
Yeah,
sun
I'm
hits
looking at
you.
the temperature now. It's like, well, it's 77 now, but it had to be like 84 when I was out there, So a couple miles, man.
I don't play with the sun, man. I remember when we used to ball, we could be out there running like 5 or 6 fulls, heat of the day, and it was nothing. That's not the case anymore, brother. We
Oh
can't.
yeah, man. On your legs that long, bro.
Yeah,
Can you
nah.
imagine like how many miles we probably ran doing that? Basketball, football, It's crazy. Just running around, but them days is over, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah. What's not over is the Dallas Mavericks playoff run, as you can
Yeah,
see.
I see you stunting, man, doing your thing, bro. You not being humble at all, but
Not at all.
it's
Not at
all
all.
good. But listen, Luka and Kyrie, you can ride that all the way to a chip, man. So that just might work. Boston's gonna be tough though. What you thinking? What's the call it right now? I know you saying Dallas gonna win, but what, 5, 6, 7? What you
Dallas and
think?
7. Not going to disrespect Tatum and them. No, they're
Okay.
absolutely a force to be reckoned with. But Luka and Kyrie, we'll squeeze that out.
I don't know, man. I think y'all can steal one. So
Yeah.
and how these playoffs been going, I don't know. I think what you're saying is most likely gonna happen. It's probably gonna be 7, right? Um, one way or the other. But I could see either of them teams, the way these playoffs been going down in 5, 6, or 7. The way these playoffs been going with teams losing at home. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll see. Because I
Yeah,
already
man.
told you I don't. Boston comes out sometimes like they're not so serious. So um, if that happens and y'all steal a game in Boston, Kyrie got all the motivation in the world to want to steal a game in Boston,
Mm-hmm.
and let Luka handle it when you get back to Dallas. And that's what I was talking to you about. When you got two superstars, you can do that.
You do it.
Kyrie can go off in game one, disappear in game two, split, go back to Dallas, and then Luka can take over. It could happen. So we'll see, man. You got a shot, bro. You know?
Sounds like you're telling us. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, man. You got a good organization. So, we'll
Yes,
see
sir.
how it turns out. Just as long as you don't end up with LeBron James next year, you'll be all right.
Yeah, no, we're paid way past that.
I know. Then
Um,
everything goes to hell if you do
yeah. Speaking of everything going to hell. All right.
that.
You've seen the unfortunate footage. I've seen it. I think all of America has seen it. Sean Combs. All right. A lot of people have been asking us about this, what our feedback, what our take, our perspective is, and just kind of doing a quick recap. Late last year, November of last year, Cassie, former R&B star and singer, had won a civil settlement with him. I think it was something close to like $30 million, I believe.
Hmm.
She had documented all of the abuse that she had been experiencing with Mr. Combs through their relationship, which had spanned probably like over a decade, I believe.
Yeah.
So she had documented and lamented about all of the abuse and so on and so forth. So he settled out of court, and there was a lot of hoopla and a lot of conversation. I know we talked about it sometime last
Hmm.
year. And earlier in the year, the IRS raided his house. I think it was a house in like Florida. And what took place most recently, earlier last month, there was footage that was leaked or released to the press that took place, I want to say in 2016. I think it was March of 2016, if I'm reading this correctly.
Right.
And unfortunately, the footage showed Cassie as she was at a hotel and she was walking down the hallway towards elevators, and Combs comes running down after her, like in a towel, and he throws her to the ground, and he repeatedly kicks her. Then he attempts to drag her down the hallway, back down to their room, um, and he later throws like a vase at her. So this was released, and man, it was just graphic. I'm not going to show the video. You know how typically I show, footage, but not going to do that. I think everybody saw it, so absolutely not going to subject our viewers to that. Now, not long after that footage was released, Combs had posted like this minute-long apology on Instagram, acknowledging that it was him that was on the footage, and that he said that his behavior on the video was inexcusable, and that he takes full responsibility for his actions in the video, and that he was disgusted when he did it, and he's disgusted now, and that he sought therapy and rehab. When he said that he was at his lowest. But in the video, he also never mentioned her like specifically. Like he never
Right.
actually identified her, you know.
Hmm.
So yeah, so this has been an ongoing thing. Again, the video speaks volumes. And absolutely, this is exactly what she had documented in one of her in the suit on one of the pages, because the document that, I mean, with her civil suit was maybe about 30, 40 pages. But this was absolutely one of the episodes that she had talked about. And and Jay, like, just kind of taking it all, even not, of course, the video speaks so loud. But just overall, I mean, this is just watching it was horrific, man. I mean, that was horrific, vile behavior from him. And unfortunately, it's one thing when you read or you hear someone's description or when they talk about it, but to actually see the footage, right, is just like, I mean, it'll stop you in your tracks to see that, and it brings to light that all of the abuse and things that she had been talking about and documenting, and unfortunately, a lot of people didn't believe her. Right, there were a
Right.
lot of there was a lot of victim blaming. There was a lot of naysayers. There was a lot of people still riding for Combs and so on and so forth. But this one, I'm gonna call this what it was, man. This was horrific and vile behavior to watch from him. And I mean, it just really shines a light on the an abusive situation. And there are so many factors that go into why someone can't leave and what leads to this and all the other different contributing factors. But yeah, it's just it stops you in your tracks. It really does. What was your take when you kind of saw as the footage came out and all the different information? What was like your take on it?
Um, I mean, obviously, I was like very shocked. It was hard to watch. The first time I didn't even really watch the whole thing because you see it, you kind of know what it is, and you've seen enough, right? So I was kind of looking at it like that. But I'm gonna be honest. It said there's a lot of different conversations that can come from this, right? First of all, obviously, I don't support anything he did in that video, right? And he's getting what he deserves now, right? Because there's no public support for him. You haven't seen any celebrities or really family members, nobody, come out support him, except for his kids at first, but not after this video, right? Um, and then I think what you said is very important because he might not even be aware of it, but what you pointed out is like he's already settled with Cassie, right? So she's not going to sue him again. He's not going to jail for any of that, right? Because the statute of limitations has expired on that. But he didn't even apologize to her, I don't think.
No,
He just kind of issued a general apology, like for my behavior type of thing, right? And that's kind of more he did it himself, but that's more so the thing that the lawyers do and the company does, like to manage the brand, right? Um, you know, kind of complete remorse is kind of apologizing to the person that we saw on the tape. It's not like he's managing litigation at this point. So I think that kind of says something. And then, when you look at the cycle of domestic violence and like the position that different people are in, you have to empathize a little bit more, a lot more, excuse me, with her and other victims, right? That are saying things that you might not really be able to understand, right?
Mhm.
Like, I couldn't leave them because I was scared of this, and that, of how my life would be impacted, right? Because think about it. This happened in 2016. We're finding out about it maybe almost 10 years later, right?
Right.
And if any, and in order to suppress a tape like that for that long, right? There are multiple people that are involved. Because
Absolutely.
because he's not walking it up to the front desk and saying, I need the tape. He needs somebody to go pay somebody to go talk to somebody to, right? And then make sure nobody saw it by accident and then all of that. And we don't have to go down the rabbit hole of that, but it, and then we have what she said about her injuries, right? And how they were able to kind of restrict her movements and blah 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 blah, right? So if you're involved, if you're in that bubble, and you see somebody that's allowed to, like, that can dictate that and do that, then you might think twice about reporting other things. You would, right? They
So,
can make threats and say things to you, right? Um, and legitimately feel like they can get away with stuff like that, right? So, and we've seen it in other instances, where people have gotten caught on tape, whether it be like football players or other rappers, where they talking to their girl on the ring, and certain things get said, right? I can't remember the exact people, but like there have been like threats made on people's lives and stuff like that, right? So, but this all comes from power, right? People that have power and are maintaining it, through like aggressive means. So, um, again, like, it was shocking, but it really shouldn't have been surprising, because after he settled 24 hours later, like, you know, I said, in my mind, I was thinking like, I can't read everything that she put in there, but there's no way that you can tell me that everything that she put in there is a lie. There's no way. You know what I mean? She just knows too much.
mhm.
And it just started sounding more and more like a DV type situation. Um,
And you brought up a really good point, right? In regards to what I am gonna identify as insidious behavior with the abuse, because like you said, this happened in 2016, and so again, like this isn't just like the Holiday Inn, right? Like
right,
with Sean Combs, like he's at a Four Seasons or one of those other different high profile hotels at a suite or whatever the case may be. So that tape had to be suppressed. Like that footage had to be suppressed. So like you mentioned, somebody was talking to somebody or somebody he's paying someone else off or whatever the case may be. And this is what I don't think people really understand, all the other different variables that are included with this type of, like, not just physical, right? Because we saw the physical aspect, but we also saw like this is emotional, right? All these other different types of abuses that are in there, especially over someone who's been involved with him for a long period of time, right? People were always just saying, like, or the criticism was, well, why didn't she leave? Clearly, she was trying to leave, right?
right,
Like, she was trying to escape. That's not a, hey, I'm just going to go get a bucket of ice, right?
right,
Trip. Like, she's trying to escape, and that's, again, this speaks and highlights of how difficult it is, right? Because again, a lot of times in these intimate partner violence or domestic violence situations is that there's the emotional abuse part of it, right? There's a situation where it might have been situations where she tried to escape before, or again, the money situation, like she might be completely over, I mean, he might be completely, as far as having control over financially, right? There's a
right.
other situation, right? So it's not as easily for someone to just leave, especially when this person is your financial, right, situation, or it's a situation,
Yo,
again, they're restricting your mood, they cut off from family, all these other different variables that come along with. And again, he's suppressing the tape for almost, like you said, 10 years. So what else
But
has he been?
again, we're talking about control. And one thing, one of the bloggers, whatever, pointed out was, I think this was like the International Hotel or something like, or Intercontinental. I don't know what it is.
Right.
But in LA, what they were pointing out was, I guess it's like a 4-star hotel, right? And you could tell when you look, it kind of looked like a Holiday Inn, right? But my point is, and they're like, yo, that's kind of strange because he's a billionaire, and you're in LA. You know what I'm saying? He could stay anywhere, right? But if you're staying at the Four Seasons, or like you said, or at the 5-star hotel, you really think they're gonna let, no matter who you are, you throwing vases in the hallway and sitting there half naked, beating up somebody inebriated in the hallway? Like, you going to jail like everybody else. Now, I could see in a smaller hotel, you buy the whole floor, you might have a little bit more control over people, but that's, again, when you start talking about that cycle and that coercive control, his money and his power and his influence extend, and the victim, you think she sees this, like, yo, I mean, it's even worse if there were people that were staying on the floor, you know what I mean? But you either have a person that has enough funds to buy a whole floor, right? And they can do that. They can buy a whole floor and then do that, destroy hotel rooms, leave, somebody else takes care of it. Or they got enough money where they can do that with other people there and somebody else comes and takes care of it. But either way, the victim sees, is no recourse for you. What do you,
Right.
Because I'm sure the person that's the abuser is going to tell you they know what they're up against, right? So it's the same reason why people don't sue their bosses all the time for making inappropriate comments, or because what you'll have to go through to try to hold that person accountable, you might lose everything doing that. You know what I mean? Think about what they say about Trump. His number one move, or is rumored to be paying half and then not paying the other half. Because if you sue him, then he's just going to stall the lawsuit out and until you don't have no more money. So, and that's something that only people with power and influence and lawyers on retainer can do. You know what I mean? And they know you and me, most likely don't have the funds to do that. So,
When you think about it, it's, if he's willing to behave in this manner, right, in public or on a hotel floor, imagine what was going on in the comforts of the home when there's nobody around, security around, right? Like, if you have the audacity, if you are willing, right, you're brave enough, right, for lack of a better term, to conduct yourself and do the abuse, like you said, whether there are people on the floor or they're not, because you're used to taking care of the situation. We can only imagine what this young woman was going through in private.
Right.
That's the scary part.
Exactly, bro. I mean, that's just, I'm looking at it now. It's crazy, bro.
Yeah, it
I'm looking
is.
at it
And
now, and then he's sitting at the end of the hallway, just like he's in his bathroom, throwing stuff, whatever. So
that was the joint where I was reading on it. He woke up, like, she was trying to sneak out while he was asleep.
right, because
So that's why,
you see him come running down the hallway, like,
right. That's what I'm saying. And like that apology, like, a lot of people have asked me what I thought of the apology. And one, I was surprised that his lawyers or PR people allowed him to even say anything, because typically they're like, "Yo, don't identify yourself in that." Like, just. But the fact that he did it on
go ahead. I
IG,
don't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
like, it was the thing. One, I saw somebody what looked to me like doesn't even know how to really give an apology, because one, like you said, he never mentioned her. And I don't think he's ever been in a situation where he's had to apologize for anything, especially not anything.
But that's what I was saying. It gives me the vibes of somebody that just woke up and did that on their own.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looked like.
Like, yo, the tape is out. I know it's over.
Yeah.
One conversation with his lawyer, he knows it's over. You understand?
Yeah.
Tighten up the circle. We in free fall mode. It's over.
Yeah.
Because all them brands that dropped them and all that, they knew 2 days before. So,
as well as it should be. I don't know. I know there are other different cases that are pending against him. I know a lot of people have launched lawsuits, and I don't know. Most of them are civil, but I think some of them, I don't know. With the feds are raiding your place, they're looking for some type of criminal activity. So
Exactly.
that's the at the same time, man, it's a situation where absolutely it's you look at, because we've heard stories years, right, about whatever he's been involved in, the parties, all the other different things, and now with this, you absolutely are looking at him with the skewed face, right? Like you're looking at him like, if this has kind of been how you've been portraying or behaving yourself behind scenes, and there have been rumors and all these things, it absolutely causes plausibility for all these other different horrific
Oh,
behaviors. You see what I
bro,
mean? Like,
listen, and I don't know that I don't know that all of this is true, but like a New York Times just came out with an article that with all of these people from Howard telling their stories about him at Howard, and then and that's a long time ago, right? And then Shine just was talking about giving interviews, talking about, I always said I was the fall guy, and I wasn't the one who shot the dude in the club, and everybody's looking now like, who is this person? You understand? And that, unfortunately or fortunately, because of his behavior, that's what happens when things like this,
one of those
occur.
things that
But I just I mean, at some point we're gonna have to have a conversation about, you know, um, all of these people who are in power, throughout the 90s and 2000s, and the 80s, who are falling, quickly, right? Um, and some of the reasons why, I guess, you know, because it's no longer a trend, bro. You know,
yeah,
it's becoming like more of a
yeah,
pattern, bro. Like it's no
yeah.
longer, something
Pattern in it.
that's yeah,
Yeah, it's not, there's absolutely, it's like you said, it's too familiar for it to be just a coincidence and a
yeah,
couple rotten apples, man. Like it looking like the whole tree, like yeah, or
exactly.
yeah, you know.
So
So absolutely,
we'll see how
given
this ends up.
these,
But again, my the attention should really be on, uh, hopefully Cassie gets the support she needs, any of the other victims.
yeah.
But he got to focus on whatever federal cases he got coming out of these accusations. And I guess just trying to protect his family because it's going to impact them.
And that's
That's
the
it.
thing, like, it's gonna impact. Like I think one of his daughters just graduated from high school or graduated from
Mm.
someplace, and like the impact that this has, right? Like this type of behavior that you're doing impacts other family members, people that you're responsible for, people that are connected to you in whatever, degree. Like it impacts everyone.
Good. Well,
So
that's the thing about being a public figure, right? Like your family can benefit off your connections, your financial, contributions and all that, but the fallout is public too.
absolutely, yeah.
So,
Speaking of high school, all right, Jay,
mhm.
it's June. It is June, and it's gonna be a lot of high school graduations coming about. Now, if you're in the South, you probably already graduated. I know that they graduate fairly like in May. But graduation season is upon us. But
Yep.
before graduation, you know what time it is. It's prom
Oh,
season.
oh
All
yeah.
right? And to say that prom season has become extravagant, I think would be an understatement. All right. Listen, I'm gonna play a couple vids real quick because prom season has just gotten it's been taken to the next level, brother.
Mm-hmm. Let's
So
see.
this is one vid real quick. Here we go.
I want you, I need you, oh God. Don't
Here we go.
take
Oh, I was gonna bring this
these
one up. The
beautiful
Cassie.
things that I've got. Please stay. I want you, I need you, oh God. these beautiful things that I've got.
All right, so that was one. Here's another one. And
I want you.
hold on. This was a couple that was from Philly. And this was they were talking to her about her send off, her junior
This is a
prom.
couple years ago.
No, this was this year. All of this is this year, bro.
Okay.
Love this kid. The dress was $1,300, right? The shoes were $4,900. The send-off was $3,900. Your hair was $175. They gave you a great price on the hair. Because hair is good. $750 on photos and videos. $4,000 on a car rental. And you got the hotel so everyone could get ready, and that was $1,600. The total was $16,625.
16K, bro.
Oh wow. Okay. Okay.
16K.
Okay. So context is important, right? Now,
Context.
are we talking about these people are like multimillionaires, billionaires?
No.
Because again, right? Like even if it's not it seems excessive to us and it's not our lifestyle, to some people, you know, that 16K could be ashtray money. Right?
Right.
But the assumption is that we're not talking about those type of people, right? We're talking about
fairly normal kind
people.
of people, right?
Right. So they're highlighting it because it's kind of a expense we would call irrational or irresponsible or not responsible. Yo, you seeing more and more of this, man. I remember it was another woman in Philly on the news a couple of years ago because she had like rented a camel and all kind of stuff.
Yep.
Like you remember that, right? Sand in front of the house. It was crazy, and everybody was talking about it.
The whole block thing, bro. She had camels. She had the exotic cars. It was a thing.
Yeah. And I didn't even know you was going this way with it. I thought you was talking about. I thought we was going to talk about also like the exotic, like because I saw a woman with a fish tank, right, in her dress.
Oh, yeah. She was there. That's all included in that too. Yeah.
But they was talking about the price of that too, the designer. But listen, man, I don't know the reason why we do this, right? But this is, you know what this is, bro? Like this is the 2024 version of, like, yo, when I was a kid, when I was 7 or 8 years old, like my father used to go off all the time because he'd be like, yo, I don't get it. He'd be like, yo, you know, people renting limos for 8th grade graduations. It was 8th grade then, all right? Because we was coming out the 80s. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what people were doing. Like, I guess if they hadn't graduated the 8th grade, when their kid got there, they wanted to give their kid the world, right? And I get it, you know, but in some level, you know, you're sending the wrong message, right? Because when you do all of that for high school graduation, like, what's next? What's left? You know what I mean? Like, and listen, I'm sure they're all great kids, you know, but it's mad excessive. You know, the money could probably be better spent somewhere else, you know.
Listen,
And the
man,
bottom line is, you know, the prom is usually overblown anyway, you know? Most people don't even stay there long.
Look, speaking from personal experience, right? You know, baby girls in college now. I experienced this. Now, I get it. For your teenager, especially if they're a good kid, they're doing well in school, you want prom night to be a great memory, right? Like you want them to remember this day for the rest of their life. Unfortunately, speaking like especially in Philly, there's a lot of not great news, right? Especially with the violence and the murders and of our youth. So it's good when you do see something positive, right? When you do see kids that are happy. Most kids look forward to the prom, generally speaking. At the same time, it's it's taken on a life of its own because
Yeah.
it's not prom, it's send off, right? Literally, what it is, it's send off. It's like it's you know what I mean. It's not just a prom night, man. I mean, I get it. It's a gathering. You know, in our community, we don't have many things like where as far as like the milestones, like the Sweet 16s are kind of, you know, depending on the person or the family, but we don't have like those rites of passage or whatever the case is. And I feel like this is what our community tries to do, but they've taken it to such a like an absorbent level,
Exactly.
and it's become a thing where it's like, yo, it's send off season. Sometimes it's not even just about the prime. Like I think and again, no judgment. If you got the money, hey man, as a parent, the one thing you don't want someone else to do is telling you what to do with your money, right? I get that aspect, but I feel like unfortunately, like as the years have progressed, it's gotten to a point where we've kind of lost sight where it's not even the prom itself, it's the send off, and the goal is to go viral, right?
Right.
Goal is like, listen, I'm trying to get the most extravagant thing and money on this X, Y, and Z, so I can go viral, right? I can get as many kind of views and likes and so on and so forth. Like it has to be a point where I feel like as a parent, are you losing sight of, is this for your kid or is this for you?
Right.
Right? Because I did this. I did this in 2019. I was really grateful that baby girl was able to go on the prom, her junior prom in 2019, because COVID in 2020 shut everything down. She didn't have a prom, right?
Okay.
Just on that senior experience. However, got the junior experience. And it was we put some money out. And mind you, this is when we hadn't even graduated yet. We hadn't even finished, right? I was still making internship money, bro, which was
Right.
not.
No, I
But
get it.
something I saved up for, did a lot of the different things. And it was a situation, we had the DJ, we had the food, had her dress made, which cost a few $100. Luckily on her mom's side, it was one of her family members was a dressmaker. So we had the DJ, we had a nice send-off, right? We had a nice send-off.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a situation where, for me, I tried to keep it as with her. Now, I'm not saying if I'm making the money that I have now, that I probably wouldn't have spent a little bit more, but it wouldn't have been anywhere near close to this, bro. Because this honestly comes a part where, yeah, the kid is getting the thing, but it's also a reflection upon you, right?
Yeah,
That's what I think that a lot of
gotta keep that in mind.
Yeah, the parents don't want to admit that, but like this is a humble brag of the parent because now it's coming out like, oh, I spent this on this, that on that, and it's making you look like you got it because of course the kid's not paying for it.
Right.
But it's like a brag that you're doing for your kid. It's like a really kind of a self-indulgent thing. And for some people, you're vicariously living through your kid. Let's keep it 100 because you didn't have.
I think I would suspect for a lot of people, but
Yeah,
that's just what I would suspect.
let's call it what it is, bro. Like a lot of them are vicariously living through their kids. You didn't have, maybe your prom wasn't like that, or maybe you didn't go to your prom or whatever the case may be. So it was like, yup, dropping it, doing every such and such. And it's not even just for the females, bro. It's even the guys. There was another dude in Philly. There was another young man that he had a whole mural, right? He had a mural.
These dudes in Nigeria are flying in on helicopters.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying.
So it's not just Philly, it's everywhere, you know?
Yeah, but it really is like the goal, and even the kids is to go viral, right? And it's like, I'm gonna have the most extravagant, the most expensive, the whatever the case is. And like you said, it's like I felt like it again. I get the community aspect. People are coming together, right? There aren't many times where outside of a graduation where there are a lot of positivity in the news or just in families altogether. But they've kind of lost sight of like, all right, it is about the kid. And of course, we're not going to forget this, but it's gotten to like just, again, no judgment. If you got it, you got it. But
we're in another place, bro.
Ask my daughter, because she was saying the same thing. We had a conversation about this. And I asked her, I said, look, would you, if you had the money, right, unlimited resources, would you have done like the joint that I showed you, like the little Cinderella ball joint, whatever? I said, would you have spent that money on your kid if you would have had that? Like, she's 21 now, right? She's still in the thick of it. I'm like, yo, would you do that for your own kid? And she was like, no. She was like, no. And she was like, yo, she's like, it's over the top. They ODing on that.
Yeah, well, she's smart.
Yeah. Now listen, bro, I feel bad for you. Okay. I feel bad for you because I don't know what's gonna happen by the time you have kids.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, hopefully it'll be a virtual prom by then.
Listen,
They'll be going to the prom with their avatars.
your kid might want the Batmobile or something. I don't know. Listen.
Well, I'm gonna send him or her to your house.
Listen.
They're not getting it from me.
You might have to get the NIL deal or something like that. Maybe Gatorade.
Hopefully.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I think that's what it comes down to. And yeah, I think we unfortunately as parents we just kind of lost sight of it. We kind of got to get back to it's a joyous occasion and making sure it's just to focus on the kids and the kids don't get a little too wild about it. But you know, more power to them. I'm happy that kids are enjoying it, but it just kind of escalated to a different extent. So but yeah, that about does it for today's episode of Let's Get Some Perspective by the Black Psychologist Podcast, sponsored by the Black Psychologist Network. Absolutely make sure that you guys continue to tune in to us. We appreciate all the feedback. We appreciate all the love. You know, continue to you know, share this video, share our information. We love the feedback. We love the comments. So just kind of keep it coming. And if anything, you got anything else, Jay? See you, everybody.